Hey guys, welcome back. So I've been seeing a lot of love for physical media on the channel lately, and you guys really enjoyed my Blu-ray collection video, so I thought, you know what? Let's keep it on physical media. Today, I want to show you guys my vinyl record collection. I've got a nice little collection here, a few different bands. You'll get to see a little bit of my music taste. You might agree with some of it, you might disagree with some of it. But regardless of our difference in musical taste, I've got some cool records here, and I thought you guys might just like to chill out while I show them off. And yeah, nice chill, laid back video for this one. Let's just get right into it. So I just realized I'm probably gonna have to change the camera angle up just a little bit so I can show these off better. But before we do go in, this down here, that's not a vinyl record, that's just a random Superman book I've had for a while. I just put it there so it fills out that shelf a little bit more nicely. So yeah. Oh wait, and actually, before we get right into this, thought I should probably show this off too. So this is my little audio setup I have in my room. I've got an Audio-Technica Bluetooth turntable up here. Love it. Great little turntable. It's a entry-level one, but it works great for what I need. Got my Sherwood amp down here, and I've got two Bose speakers just chilling right there. So these speakers and this amp, I actually just took them off my parents. They bought them years ago, and they just weren't using them, so I thought, you know what? I won't have to pay for new stuff. I'll take them. Got my little audio lead there for my headphones. Got a CD player back there, super old one. I should really buy a new one. Got a nice little TIE Fighter here too. And I forgot, I have a couple of 7-inches here. This first one, Van Halen single, Why Can't This Be Love? And what's the other song on this again? Get Up. Yeah, those two nice little Van Halen singles. Eric Clapton 7-inch, Grand Illusion, and what's this again? It's in the Way That You Use It. Master record again. Oh, and this one's funny. I got this from a magazine like ages ago. It's a Fallout 76 promotional thing, but it just has, I don't know if you can read that, Take Me Home Country Road on it. The Denver version. It's only one-sided. I think they did it for 76 too. It's a cool little record for a bad game. But yeah, anyway. That's the setup. Now let's get back to the collection. Alright, angle change finished. Now we can get started. Oh, wait, actually, before we do, all my records are in sleeves. I'm not going to be taking them out for this video. Most of them are just plain, regular old vinyl disc, and if I was doing that for all of them, we would be here all day. So, you know, just show you the record, tell you what I think of the album, and we'll just go through them. And, oh, we are starting off very strong here. Frog Stomp by Silverchair. This might be my favorite album of all time. I love Silverchair. They're my favorite band ever. If you don't know who they are, they're probably one of the most famous Australian rock bands ever. This is a great little record. Very inspired, like you can really see the Pearl Jam and Black Sabbath influence on this, which they've said was their inspiration for this album. But even though it's heavily inspired, it's brilliant. Like, just one of the all-time classic rock albums. And as you'll see, as we're going through this collection, I'm pretty sure... okay, no, I was going to say Silverchair's the only band where I have all their albums on vinyl, but I think there might be one more. Then, going through Silverchair again. Silverchair, Freak Show. Great follow-up album. I think it's definitely a more accomplished piece than Frog Stomp. A lot of great songs in this one. Surely you must have heard Freak somewhere once. Again, just another cool standard vinyl. Silverchair, can't go wrong. Neon Ballroom. Masterpiece. Like, look, for all the Silverchair albums on here, I love every single one of them. Like I said, they're my favorite band. Banger after banger with albums. I can understand... Okay, no, I was going to say I can understand if you don't like them. I don't understand if you don't like them. If you don't like them, like, we can't be friends. I'm sorry. A little bit on the side there. But, yeah. Great little release there as well. Almost done with Silverchair. They only put out 5 albums. Diorama. I've never really liked this album artwork. I mean, it's a brilliant album. There's no denying that. But, I don't know. This artwork has always just been kind of tacky to me. It's pretty simple. But, yeah. Bad album artwork can't ruin a bad album for me. Even this back cover, man. Like, what were they thinking with this? Oh, it's really corny. But, you know, again, incredible album. Love it, love it, love it. And the final Silverchair record, Young Modern. A lot of fans do not like this one because this was arguably where they went from being, well, I guess they are still a rock band on this, but this is very, very, very radio-friendly pop rock. I love it. I still think it's brilliant. It's not my favorite Silverchair album, but it's still a great listen. And funny story about this record, I remember before I even started buying vinyl records, I used to see this album everywhere, discounted for like, you know, $30 in store. And I thought, Silverchair, I like them, but, you know, I'm not a vinyl guy. I'll leave it. What am I going to do with it? Just leave it on the shelf? Could have bought it for $30 a few years ago. When I bought this one, I had to pay $100 for it, which I think it is still the most expensive single vinyl I've ever bought. But I have no regrets buying it then because now it's worth about $300. So, yeah, I'm holding on to this one and I'm never, ever giving it up because I doubt I'll be able to get my hands on it again. Continuing with Aussie rock. Maybe the second biggest Aussie rock band of all time. No, AC/DC exists, don't they? Anyway, definitely one of the most famous Australian bands ever. Powderfinger, Odyssey number 5. Probably their most famous album, I would say. This one has all of the hits. You've got My Happiness, These Days, fucking... Well, yeah, all of these are hits now that I think about it. Also, this album artwork is just awesome. Love the concept. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Powderfinger, you cannot go wrong. Oh, this one's a heavy hitter too. Rest in peace, Chris Cornell, man. Just, gone away too fucking soon. Soundgarden. Just an incredible band. Super unknown. This album is untouchable. I mean, obviously you have the standouts like Black Hole Sun, but then you just have really nice little sleeper hits like Suicide. Love that song. Let Me Drown. Love it. Then, of course, you got classics like Spoon Man. Just one of the most definitive bands of their time. Grunge just titans. And it's a shame that Soundgarden isn't still a thing, but they had their time in the sun, and it was incredible. No. Here's like, look, if you have a vinyl collection, you kind of have to have this album, I feel like. Nirvana, Nevermind. I might have to censor this for YouTube. Do I? I don't know, I might have to look into that. But, yeah, of course the vinyl isn't uncensored because fuck censorship. Yeah, I don't know if I should be saying that about a baby. Anyway, yeah, Nevermind. I don't even have to say anything about this album. You all know it. Everybody's heard Smells Like Teen Spirit. I'm convinced everyone has a copy of this album in their house somewhere. This was it the 30th anniversary reissue, I'm pretty sure. It's got this, and then, like, you know, it's got the main album, then I'm pretty sure there's a nice little 7-inch in here that has some singles and B-sides on it. I don't even have to say anything. Like, I've got a few Nirvana records here that I'm going to go through now, but I don't think I even have to say anything about them. Oh, sorry about that, bumped the camera. In Utero. Amazing. Incredible. Much more experimental and alternative compared to Nevermind. A lot of people... Well, I don't say a lot of people. I would say that this wasn't as accepted in the mainstream as Nevermind, but you still have songs like Heart-Shaped Box on here, man, which are still just Man. Look, nobody knows what would have happened if Kurt Cobain was still around, but all we know is he left an untouchable track record behind him. Oh, here's a good one too. Nirvana Unplugged. My personal favorite acoustic album ever. I think it is. Fun fact, this was actually the first vinyl I ever bought, so it does hold a very special place in my heart. I've listened to this album to death. I think it is one of the most soothing things that's ever graced my ears. One of the best live performances of all time, just in general. There's a reason why that album is so highly regarded for a live album. Like, it's a live album, but, a lot of people look at it as, a main Nirvana album. It's treated like a proper body of work instead of just a live, recording. Keeping close to Nirvana, we got Foo Fighters, Concert Hall, Toronto, 1996. I'm pretty sure this was a gift from someone that I just got years ago. It's a weird release. It's just a live album, but they only have songs from their self-titled on here. I don't know if I've actually listened to this now that I think about it. I wonder if the quality's any good. Anyway, yeah, that's a weird one I have. Sticking with Foo Fighters, we have the self-titled. Considering Dave Grohl recorded this thing by himself after Nirvana, pretty much cemented the fact that, oh, this guy is so much more than a drummer. Like, the talent... Look, man, like that whole Kurt Cobain thing, we wouldn't have had Foo Fighters without it. I'm just saying. I finally got to see him live a few months ago, and my God, such an incredible live band. Played non-stop for 3 hours, great set list with all the greatest hits. I usually don't go in on greatest hits albums. I just find them kind of tacky, and I'd rather have a complete body of work. But Foo Fighters, man, their hits are incredible, and they do genuinely have enough of them to fill up an entire greatest hits record and have all of them be bangers. I mean, seriously, all of these songs just mean the world to me. Everlong, Learn to Fly, Times Like These. Oh. And the new songs I recorded for this one, Wheels, Word Forward, and Everlong, great little additions to make this package really worth it. I can already see this isn't going to be as long as my Blu-ray video. I know I'm being quick with these, but I don't know if I've got another 2-hour collection video in me. Oh yeah, by the way, this collection isn't alphabetized or anything. I just grouped the bands together, and that's pretty much the only organization I have. Anyway, Pearl Jam, 10. I know Pearl Jam gets clowned on a lot. Like, just Eddie Vedder's voice in general. Like, whoa, oh, I'm still alive. That sort of thing. I love it, but I can understand why it might not be your thing. But again, this album, definitive. I think this is the record that defined grunge. I mean, seriously, Alive, Black, Jeremy, just classic rock anthems. Look, Pearl Jam, it's not my favorite Pearl Jam record. We'll get to that, but this is definitely their most definitive, and I think people kind of find it a little bit... Look, that album was the first to do pretty much everything that came to define grunge, to the point where, I'm sure people find that album kind of annoying now because they had to listen to Creed for years and years and years on the radio, but it's untouchable 10, man. Like, it's just beautiful. Keeping it Pearl Jam versus... I feel like people don't talk about this album anywhere near as much as 10, but, they have their hits on here too. You've got Daughter, Rearview Mirror, and my personal favourite, Elderly Woman Behind the Counter in a Small Town. It's a mouthful of a title, but it's a great song. Great one to learn on guitar too, just like, a few open chords, easy strumming pattern. It was one of the first songs I learned, super fun to play too. Then you got like sheep or the goat. I've never actually looked up what the animal is on this cover. I'm pretty sure it's a goat. And I don't think this is even the normal artwork you have. I know the streaming cover is different, but yeah. It's one of the nice things about vinyl. You get alternate versions. Then last Pearl Jam record I have, Vitology. My personal favorite Pearl Jam record. I think this is the album where they really figured out what they wanted to do as a band. Got a little bit more experimental. They still had their grunge rock hits. And, you know, you've got the everyone knows it, everybody loves it song, Better Man. But personally, I really love songs like Corduroy on here. Nothing Man is brilliant. And this is a super nice vinyl release too. Like, I'm pretty sure back when this came out, the vinyl came out like a week before the CD did. So if you were still a vinyl enjoyer when this came out, you got to listen to it way earlier than anyone else, which I've always thought was pretty cool. Here's another interesting compilation album. Singles, the motion picture soundtrack. I have watched this movie. I don't love the movie, if I'm being honest. I'm pretty sure Cameron Crowe was the guy that directed it. Yeah, it was Cameron Crowe. I mean, look, Almost Famous is just way better in my opinion, but the reason I do have this vinyl is because there are so many great songs on here. You've got Wood by Alice in Chains, Breath or Breathe, however you say it, by Pearl Jam, Seasons by Chris Cornell, man. It's just... oh, man. And you've got State of Love and Trust on here by Pearl Jam. It's just a who's who of grunge, and it's a great little compilation album. I love it, even if the movie is just okay, in my opinion. It's one of those examples where I think the soundtrack is way better than the movie. Here we go. We're getting into some heavy hitters now. Metallica, Ride the Lightning. I don't have Kill 'Em All, don't ask. The album's good, it's just not really one of my favorites. Ride the Lightning, however. This is just... I guess it would have to be one of the greatest thrash albums of all time. Maybe just behind the next album I'm going to look at. But yeah, man, Jesus. Ride the Lightning, For Whom the Bell Tolls, Fade to Black, Creeping Death, thrash metal classics. Look, Kill 'Em All got people to start paying attention to Metallica. This album made people realize, wow, we might have to actually keep tabs on this band. And then, you know, it was only really uphill from there. I mean, straight up after that. Master of Puppets. Like, haha, the Stranger Things album, Stranger Things song. Look, if you discovered the song Master of Puppets through Stranger Things, good on you. I'm glad you found this killer album and that killer song. Because again, Metallica just went and made another perfect thrash album. Battery, Master of Puppets, The Thing That Should Not Be, Welcome Home, Sanitarium, Disposable Heroes, Leper Messiah, Orion, Damage Incorporated. All of those songs are just fucking untouchable, man. And, yeah, last album with Cliff, R.I.P. But, you know, it didn't slow the band down, man. Metallica is just one of those forces of nature within music. I mean, seriously, you'd think any other band would have fucking collapsed after that Dumpster Fire Saint Anger. I kind of like that album, but, I'm amazed they came back from that. Metallica, the Black Album. I really do think this is the definitive rock album. Filled with it has all their biggest hits on there. The production is incredible. The songwriting is great. I understand why you might not have liked this album if you were a Metallica fan starting with Kill 'Em All, and they made a conscious decision to write catchier, more mainstream songs with this record. If you don't like that sort of music, you weren't going to like this. But you cannot deny it. This album is one of the most influential arrangements, compositions, whatever you want to call an album of all time. It's untouchable, man, and the impact it had on rock was immeasurable. Then the last Metallica album I have on the shelf, this one's controversial, sorry about that. Load. If you don't already know, you should totally look up what this cover art is. But yeah, I think definitely a very divisive follow-up to the Black Album. I don't think this one was anywhere near as successful. I mean, Metallica hasn't really had anything close to the Black Album since. But I love this album, man. Like, honestly, it is up there with my favorite Metallica records. I mean, Jesus, Until It Sleeps, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, The Outlaw, Torn Man. Just, look, Metallica just went hard into hard rock and just weird shit in general. But, God, I love this album so much. And, you know, if you're not a big fan of it, I would actually recommend giving it another listen because it took me a while to get into it too, and after I got into it, it hasn't let go of me since. Rise Against, No Way Generation. Rise Against is one of my favorite bands ever, man. I fucking love them. I think their music is great. The instrumentals and the message, amazing. This was their last album. They did put out No Way Generation 2, but that was a EP, so not, I think that's the right word, EP, when it's only like a few songs. I really should have brushed up my music terminology before this. But, yeah. Great album. I remember just listening to this non-stop the year it came out. I haven't gone back to it for a while, and looking at it now, I do kind of want to. I mean, honestly, these stand out for me in this album. Talking to Ourselves, just chef's kiss. Oh yeah, and that front cover, there's like a little disc inside the front sleeve there that actually spins around. It's pretty cool. Keeping it with Rise Against. Long Forgotten Songs, B-sides and covers from 2000 all the way to 2013. This is a nice little collection. It basically just gets all of their, you know, all of their songs that weren't released in the main track list of their albums, but there are some bangers on here, man. Like Death Blossoms, Ever Changing, the acoustic version is great. Lanterns, and, you know, covers like, what ones are there again? Nervous Breakdown, that is a standout. I love that cover. But, yeah, if you're a fan of the band, this is just a must-buy. Rise Against, the Ghost Note Symphonies, Volume 1. I'm waiting for him to do a Volume 2. It's been years now. Just an acoustic reimagining of all their songs with even a little bit of orchestral music thrown in there. I think the track list on here is really great. I think these are all brilliant versions of their songs. I mean, look, nothing outdoes the original, but if you're into softer music, this is a great introduction to Rise Against. I mean, yeah, they might be my second favorite band of all time behind Silverchair. I think they make incredible music, and I love everything they stand for. I actually got to see them like a couple weeks ago, and it was amazing. But okay, I saw them with Blink-182. It was part of it was like the last leg of Blink's reunion world tour, and Rise Against were opening for him in Australia. Rise Against only played for like 40 minutes, man. Like, I understand they're not the main act on that bill, but God, it was not long enough, man. Anyway. We're not done with Rise Against either. We're not done with Rise Against yet, but we'll come back to it later. I think, look, there's a standout on this shelf, and I think you know what's probably going to be in there now. Paris, All We Know of Heaven, All We Need of Hell. I've been really getting into Paris a lot lately. It's actually spelled Pvris as well, which, you know, it's weird when you see the name. It's like, how do I pronounce this? It's just Paris. It's Paris. That's the band. Lynn Gunn, incredible musician. Look, I think, oh God, what was the name of their first album again? I can't even remember. was like something Mirror, Dark Mirror. I think that might have been it. But yeah, Paris, a band that really started off as, you know, I would say a full-on rock band. With this album, they started turning into more of an electronic pop band. I think this is more of a pop record than a rock album. But regardless, it is still brilliant. I mean, Heaven, What's Wrong, love those songs. And this album artwork has just always been one of my favorites. This was the background on my laptop for the longest time. I think it's just a really nice photo. And yeah, this album too, just the white with the black and the grey in the middle here, just looks awesome, sounds even better. Should really buy a few more Paris records because they sound great on vinyl. Oh, here's a nice Aussie cut. Green Spoon. If there's one band that you probably haven't heard, well, I mean, unless you're Australian, you probably have heard of them, but if you're like one of my American viewers or something like that, check out Green Spoon, man. Just go on Spotify, check out Green Spoon. Really great hard rock Aussie band. This is one of their little EPs they did. This is a classic too. Like Black Friday, More Than You Are, Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck, Busy, Explain, and you even got another cut of Black Friday Live. If you didn't like the recorded version, then here's the live version too. I think if you're a fan of this band, this record is held in very high regard, and for good reason. I hope this collection video isn't all over the place. I'm just trying to be, you know, it's a chill video. We're not going too in-depth with this stuff. I might be getting a few facts wrong here. Don't attack me in the comments if I mess something up. But, yeah. I'm not as knowledgeable in music as I am in film, so I might sound like an idiot at some points in this video, but, you know, I'm just taking you guys through a little collection. We're chilling. We're just here to have fun. If we get something wrong, it's okay. Polaris. The Death of Me. Polaris is easily one of the best metalcore bands going around right now. Aussie import too. Super proud of that. The album they put out last year was brilliant. They are great live. I've seen them. I can vouch for that. Love this album artwork too, man. It's just... yeah, I dig this. Just give me a second. I might have to cut this out. Oh, man, I needed a stretch too. Sorry, just had to check something. Where was I? Polaris. Yeah, one of the best metalcore bands in the world right now. If you're into metal and you haven't checked them out yet, highly, highly recommend. This album sounds great as well. Now, we got a couple more Aussie bands in this little section here. That's probably why I organised them like this. Slowly, Slowly, Race Car Blues. One of my favourite albums to come out in the last few years. Slowly, Slowly, great Australian indie rock band. I think they sound brilliant. They have really hard-hitting lyrics, super relatable. Just really nail the feeling of, you know, growing up in Australian rural areas. Well, I mean, I think they're from Brisbane, but I don't think, you know, they're suburbs kids. They just understand what it's like growing up in Australia, I guess. But yeah, I just remember this album really speaking to me when it came out back a few years ago. Listened to this one a lot in high school. Awesome album. Stand Atlantic, Fuck Everything and Run, or Fear, as it's more commonly known. Always loved this album cover too. Just a great little aesthetic. I have this on a shirt, so I really like it. Great pop punk Aussie band. This is... yeah, they've put out a few albums by now, but I think this is the one where they really did come into their own. Just really abrasive music. Gets you going, gets the blood pumping. I really do need to see these guys live. I missed my chance to see them a couple times now, but I really need to fix that. Oh, Mysterious Black Spine. Who's on this? Oh, it's Florence and the Machine. Lungs. Sorry, I was something I checked before. It keeps popping up. Anyway, we're getting distracted. Yeah, you're probably a lot of people are probably familiar with Florence and the Machine now, more so than before because of Guardians 3. Dog Days Are Over, recognize that song. God, you have no idea how happy I was hearing that song in that movie in the cinema. But, yeah. God, I just had a mind blank just thinking about how great this band is. Florence and the Machine, a really calming band for me. I haven't listened to them as much lately, but, I mean, you go back to their albums every now and then, this one especially. Just such a liberating and peaceful album. I love it. I'm starting to sound like a hippie in this video, man. Ugh. Oh, here's a special one. This. Alice in Chains, Jar of Flies, and I've also got Sap on this one. So yeah, it's a double record. It's got 2 discs in here, 2 vinyl records, 2 records, I should just say. And the cool thing about this is they have reissued this. I think they did in 2010. But if it shows up on the camera, it's probably way too small. Yeah, nah, you're not seeing that. This is a pressing from 1994, I believe, when it came out. I just saw this in a record store one day for $30, and I was like, you are coming home with me. I mean, it's not perfect. Someone's gotten pen and, like, drawn on the labels on the records. The sleeves are a little bit tattered and torn, but it still plays perfectly, which I am very, very happy with. You can see the aging on the edges of the sleeve here, stuff. See it? It's like an old book, no scuff marks. But yeah, this is just, again, another classic albums, I should say. People don't really talk about Sap as much. I don't love it. I mostly bought this just for Jar of Flies, but yeah. Really beautiful album, really haunting. Like, you know, it's just, this album takes you places, man. Yeah, Alice in Chains. If you have not seen their MTV Live as well, man, something about grunge bands and MTV Lives. That Nirvana one is great. The Alice in Chains one is just as good. Ah, here we go. Coming back to a band I was just talking about. Blink-182, Enema of the State. Probably one of the most iconic album covers of all time, and for good reason. I mean, when I went and saw Blink, there were a couple chicks dressed up as the nurse from this album cover, and they were so accurate to the point they even had the real butterfly tattoos on their arms. And they even had the Blink logo on the nurse outfit, which, you know, that's dedication. Maybe the definitive pop-punk record. Blink are just a monster. I mean, look at the response they got when they reunited with Tom. Was it, oh god, a couple years ago now. Yeah, they've been around for a while. Cannot say enough good things about this album. I mean, come on, What's My Age Again, Adam's Song, All the Small Things. Those songs are so popular, people are sick of them, and I don't blame you if you are, but I love Blink. Always have. That album holds a very special place in my heart, as it does for a lot of people. Ugh. And yeah, that's most of it now. Just going on to the bottom shelf. This is a weird one. The Graduate, the movie soundtrack. I was just in Vinnie's one day and I found this in the bin for $2. This thing is messed up. I don't think I've even listened to it yet. But look at this thing, man. I mean, look, it's a piece of history. It's nice to have. You think that one's weird? Look at the next one. I got these on the same day. They were $2 each. Like, how can I pass that up? Dr. Zhivago. David Lean, man. Classic director. This looks like someone just slapped a newspaper on the back of this record. Like, what am I looking at? Like, you know, that's just what I mean, man. Like, stuff like this, it's cool. It's antique. Yeah. I bought these because they were cheap, man. Don't question what I'm doing with my collection. Slide them back in there. Don't go hiding in the back there. Amity Affliction. Everyone loves you once you leave them. There is something about Amity Affliction, man, that just drags out the worst stuff inside of you, and you kind of just get to release it through their music. Like, these guys write some really dark and serious shit in their songs. I mean, seriously, All My Friends Are Dead, Soak Me in Bleach, Born to Lose. This stuff is dark, man, but there's a real cathartic experience with all this. I really like this album. Again, if you haven't listened to Amity Affliction and you're into metal, great Aussie band. Something about Aussie metal, man. It's just so good. Yeah, classic, classic, classic. If you haven't listened to them, give them a spin. Oh, some more timers here too. Eminem, the Marshall Mathers LP. Love this album. This was Eminem almost at his peak. I think we'll get into his peak for the next record. But I think there is a viciousness and just aggression to this album that I don't think he's ever quite reached since. I mean, seriously, come on. Stan, Kill You, The Real Slim Shady. The songs on here are just masterpieces. And, you know, Eminem, he's clowned on a little bit these days, but you cannot deny he made some absolute monsters of records. Just gotta slide this one back in. This is getting a bit awkward with the tripod in the way I just realized. And keeping on Eminem for another record, The Eminem Show. In my opinion, this is the definitive Eminem album. The songwriting on here is top class. The instrumentals and production, I don't know if it's ever been topped on a rap record. I mean, seriously, man. I mean, even just having... God, where is it? I'm trying to find it again. Without Me. Even just having this song on here is God tier. But then you have the deeper cuts on here. Haley's song, really like that one. And then, Till I Collapse. One of the most inspirational songs of all time. Sorry about that. But yeah, The Eminem Show. I really doubt Eminem will ever make another album that is as good as that one. Going back into metal now. Rage Against the Machine. I feel like this album covers really, it speaks to a lot of people right now, I feel like. I'm just going to leave it at that. This was definitely one of my gateway records into heavier music. I mean, hearing the end of Killing in the Name, just the, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. Like, 12-year-old me was just like, oh my god, they can say fuck that many times? And, you've even got stuff like, Wake Up. I remember I heard that song for the first time in The Matrix. I was just like, what is this? Oh, yeah. Rage Against the Machine. Actually, God, I keep hitting the camera. Sorry about that. You guys don't deserve that. Yeah, Rage Against the Machine, back in their day, man, unstoppable. And, it has kept going. Evil Empire. Definitely not as famous as their self-titled, but, again, just great, great songs on here. I mean, straight up, Bulls on Parade. I think that was the song that got me into Rage Against the Machine. If you haven't heard Denzel Curry's version of Bulls on Parade, check that out because it is, so good. Yeah, I've always really liked that cover art too. I get into some heavy shit now too. Parkway Drive, Horizons. It is ridiculous how popular Parkway Drive is. They went from this trashy little metal band. Oh, no, fun fact, actually. I only live a couple of hours away from Parkway Drive's hometown. I know people that know people in this band, which is kind of crazy. But, yeah, Horizons. This was definitely the album that made people start paying attention to the band. Like, Killing With a Smile, great album. But this... I mean, seriously, you just mentioned Carry On and people go ballistic. Just, man. I get kind of emotional thinking about this album. It's just Parkway's one of my all times, man. They have gotten me through some tough stuff in my life. I mean, you're feeling down, listen to Boneyards, Idols and Anchors. It'll rip every bad feeling right out of your chest, man. And Deep Blue, Parkway Drive. Love the cover art. Great concept album. If you don't know the story behind it, look it up because it is chilling. And yeah, I mean, seriously, Home is for the Heartless and Karma, those two alone. I got to hear Karma live. One of the greatest experiences of my life. And, you know, again, you ever feeling down? Put on Home is for the Heartless, just start belting out that, whoa, whoa. Guarantee you'll feel 100% better afterwards. Oh, here's a deep cut. The Killing Tree, The Romance of Helen Trent. I'm sorry if I'm about to butcher his name, but Tim McElraith? I can never remember how to say... Look, Tim McElraith, if you know Rise Against, you know the members of that band, you know who I'm talking about. This was the lead singer of Rise Against first band. Well, maybe not his first, but it was the band he had before Rise Against, I'm pretty sure. Really great. Just, is it hardcore or death metal? I would say, you know, hardcore death metal sort of album. Really heavy stuff. Like, if you've only listened to Rise Against and you go from that to this, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by how brutal this album is. I mean, seriously, like, just listen to the titles. I mean, Switchblade Architect, Replace My Heart, Soundtrack to a Falling Relationship, Violets of Blue, Cacophony. God, I'm gonna get made fun of for not knowing how to pronounce that. The Death of Affection. This is some edgy stuff, man. And I'm amazed this album even has a vinyl pressing, but it's definitely one of the deeper cuts in my collection. Oh, well, now we're just going on to a couple must-haves here. Never mind the bollocks, here's the Sex Pistols. If you're even slightly into punk rock, you have to have listened to this album. It is the definitive punk album. Just pioneered a genre, and yeah, Sex Pistols, they're definitely one of those stars that shined so bright they burnt out a lot sooner than they should have. I'm just not even going to say anything. If you're even slightly into music, you know, man. You just know. I don't even have to say anything. If you haven't listened to that album by now, then I really don't know how you've managed to avoid it for so long. Oh, this will make a lot of people happy. I mean, come on, this is another one. If you're even familiar with my channel, I don't have to explain this. Just, yeah, you get the deal. Then we got that one. And we got this one. I don't have Return of the Jedi because, you know, I was just... These things are expensive, man. It's just... You know, it's hard to justify buying 3 double vinyl record packages at once. Inception, the soundtrack. I don't know if it is anymore, but for the longest time... Excuse me. For the longest time, Inception was my favorite movie ever. It really is It's the movie that made me start branching out into different types of films beyond superhero flicks and Star Wars. It might be one of the best scores Hans Zimmer's ever done, although I think a lot of people do kind of... You know, they give this album a little bit of shit, because I think this was one of the origins just behind the bwah, like, sound in movie trailers and everything. Oh. I mean, look, this might be a definitive take, but I love the music for this movie. one of my favorite Hans Zimmer's scores. I think even if you're one of the people that don't really like this movie, you can't deny that the Man of Steel soundtrack is incredible. I mean, even just that piano bit, what does it go? It goes... Dun, 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 dun. I don't know if I can do it off the top of my head, but, you know, you hear it and it's just... Man, that theme is just etched into my mind forever. I think it's a really... It's interesting that they didn't just retread what John Williams did for that original Superman movie. But, you know, the Man of Steel soundtrack, man. Red Hot Chili Peppers, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. I mean, their breakout album, I don't think it was the first album they did with Frusciante, but, you know, this is the album that made the world really find out who Chili Peppers was. I mean, Jesus, what songs are on this again? Breaking the Girl, Suck My Kiss, Under the Bridge. I mean, this was the start of their classics. Their classics era, I should say. Yeah, it's not my favorite Chili Peppers album, though. That honor belongs to Californication. I mean, look, this is a super popular record. I think it's a lot of people's favorite Chili Peppers album. But I mean, you look at the track list. I mean, Jesus, Around the World, Scar Tissue, Other Side, Californication. This is a brilliant record from front to back. I know Chili Peppers, I think they're one of those bands where, you know, you either love them or you just think they're kind of annoying. I know a lot of people don't really like, don't like Anthony Kiedis' singing, but, you know, it's never really bothered me. This might be a bit tricky. Oh, man, this is a nice set. Stadium Arcadium. I know a lot. I mean, Jesus, this record, it's so long. They need 4 discs for it. But, yeah. I know a lot of people have said things about this album, saying, you know, it's bloated, it's too much. I mean, why'd they even make a double album in the first place? I will say, I don't think this album is... It has its highs and its lows. It's not just front to back bangers, but I really like most of these songs, and listening to this album on vinyl, just front to back, it's definitely one of the albums that makes me really love the medium. Oh, Jesus, we're almost done. See, this video is about half as long as the movie collection video, okay? I had to try and keep this one brief. Linkin Park. Meteora. This album holds a very, very, very special place in my heart. I think this is my favorite Linkin Park album. I think it's better than Hybrid Theory. This was the album where the band sort of moved away from nu metal and kind of made their own sound. I mean, Jesus, man, Somewhere I Belong, that song just... It's my song, man. I love that song. And, you know, you've got, I mean, Numb. Come on, man. Numb is just a titan of a song. Yeah, Linkin Park, man, it's a very special band for a lot of people, and Meteora, in my mind, is their defining moment. But, going back to super cool box sets... Bit of dust on here, sorry. Nope, that's the back. Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory. This is the 20th anniversary edition. It's super cool. So, you know, you've got the album, of course, but then you also get Reanimation in here, which is super cool. If you don't know what that is, it's just a remix album. And then, if it'll come out, there we go. They give you a little... Oh, God, it's not gonna... They give you a little B-sides thing into it. I think that record just came sliding out inside the box. But, yeah. Super nice package for what this is. I love what they're doing for their anniversary collections for their albums. The Meteora one, I mean, I already have Meteora on vinyl, but if I didn't already own it, I definitely would have gotten that 20th anniversary edition. But, yeah. Super cool. Hang on, I might just have to check something real quick. Sorry if this is a super jarring cut for the end of the video. I had to go do something and I'm finishing this video hours later. It's been a bit of a weird collection video, not super consistent, but we've only got one item left, so I'm here to finish it. And it's the big mysterious black box, which, as long as I can get it out, this is actually a Rise Against box set, which is actually really heavy like this, so I might just swap the filming position again. Just give me a second. Again, I'm sorry for all the weird angles and changes in this video, but it's been a weird one. But, you know, we're going to finish strong. This is the Rise Against Career Vinyl box set. When it's released, it had every Rise Against album up to that date. So I think it starts... Well, of course, it starts with their first album. God, why is my mind blanking on so many of these? What's the name of the first album? Hang on. Oh yeah, The Unraveling. So it starts with The Unraveling. And it ends with Wolves, which was the latest album up to this point. And you've already seen Noah Generation, so I am updated with them. But, fun fact, this was also... No, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Just look at this box artwork. Like, got Rise Against on the side there, heart on the back. Like, seriously, this is probably the nicest piece of vinyl anything I own. Just check the artwork on this thing. It's also very heavy. And, yeah, it's got this cool little... I might just... Sorry if this is a bit jarring. There we go. I just had to change the camera angle. Let's bring it in a little bit. So yeah, it's basically just this massive vinyl book. Like I said, I love Rise Against, so I saw this, I had to get it. You know, you flick through, it has this nice little sort of history book at the start of it. Just the complete package. I love this thing. And then, yeah, you keep on flicking through. You get all the albums. You have The Unraveling, Revolutions Per Minute, Siren Song of the Counterculture, The Sufferer and the Witness, my personal favourite Rise Against album, Appeal to Reason, Endgame, The Black Market, and we finish with Wolves. And that's the whole book. Yeah, I love this thing. Like I said, this is probably the nicest vinyl collection that I have ever seen personally, but I love Rise Against, so I am very biased. All of these albums, I love them, and to have them all in one package is just awesome, because we all know that for some bands, tracking down individual vinyls is just impossible. So to get the complete package for the price I got it for was really nice. And, yeah, that is my entire vinyl collection. I know this has been a chaotic video. I'm sorry about that. I just really wanted to get this one done and get it out to the people. So, yeah, thank you for watching. The channel is going insane lately. I cannot thank you all enough for that. Hope you're having a good day, good week, good month, good year. And, yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Look after yourselves, everybody. Stay safe. And I'll see you all next time.